Wrestling fans, I'm Dan Marty.
MJ in the house, otherwise known as that rocker, Marty Jannetty.
It is Thursday night. It's 9 o'clock. There's only one place to be, right here on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Stand by.
Rock it.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
All right, wrestling fans, Thursday night, Marty Jannetty is back here on Wrestling Insiders as we continue his trials and tribulations, his early days in WWF. It may take us a year just to get through 1988. We've been having so much fun, sharing so many different experiences.
That was a year long. I mean, I think Mac Daddy and I were talking earlier. If it wasn't him, it was me and somebody else about the partying.
Yeah,
Hold
there's
on.
a lot of partying.
Get my tooth in.
All right.
It was a lot, and like if we were on the road 300 days a year, Sean and I, or one of my partners and I, we used to probably go out 285 of those days of the year. So when you go out and partying every night, there's a story every night. So there's a lot to tell, you know.
There is a lot to tell, and that's what I think is so much fun about it. You know, we come up with one topic, and there's so many different avenues and twists and turns you can take with it, and it makes for interesting content for the fans at home.
Yeah,
we're certainly not rushing the process.
Right.
And I think that's for the best.
And we drift sometimes. He'll start talking about Joe Biden, and I have to get him back on Trump, but we don't want to do that here.
All right, where we kicked off from last time, we were talking in depth about the chronological order of your WWF career.
Yeah.
It takes us to SummerSlam 88, the first one, Madison Square Garden, August 1988. The Rockers weren't featured on that show. You were still kind of a new phenomenon to the company. You weren't really in a feud. No, you were not on that show. Do you remember where you were the night that SummerSlam kicked off? There obviously weren't any house shows. Were you at MSG, in the locker room?
Is that where it was, at MSG?
It was at MSG.
I probably might have been there. I don't know. I think we were. I think most of the guys back then were always there because we did some kind of promo,
right.
or you had a dark match or something.
Is it true that in the early days of the pay-per-views that WrestleMania was the only one you got a true big bonus out of?
No, you
would get a pay-per-view bonus on all four of them?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have guys that say it was just WrestleMania that you'd get the bump for.
Everybody's contract was different.
Yeah.
You know,
so every pay-per-view you were on, you got some kind of a bonus.
Back then we'd get, I think it was around $5,000 for summers. All the ones but WrestleMania, that would be up to 15 grand. According to where you were on the card. So you could be up to 250,000 if you're up top.
Right. I had seen, I think it was the payoff sheet for SummerSlam 91, which was also in New York, and everybody did get, a significant bump compared to what you would be paid off the gate. There are some guys that have said adamantly, though, no, they only got, you got a big pay-per-view bonus for Mania, and just you were paid off of a larger house show gate for the other pay-per-views that year.
I think I told maybe on one of the episodes before this one. This is like our 8th one, right?
I've lost track. We're having so much fun, Marty. I know my birthday is hit by now, and I tell you, 40s never look so good, right?
But they, I think I did on one of the other episodes, so if you missed it, here it goes again. Or maybe if you saw it.
It's available in our archives if you haven't.
Yeah, they used to give us our booking sheet for 3 weeks worth because we do TV every 3rd week. 1 week was live and then 2 weeks tape. That was for Raw, because that's
right.
Live all the time now, but every week. But we'd get our booking sheets, and we had the A team, B team, and C teams, what we called them. We even had a D team at one time. It was so good.
When it was really hot, there was even D team shows.
Everything was. I forgot to do something about my head.
All right, there you go, brother.
I forgot what I was saying. Oh, the booking sheets. So you get your booking sheet, and everybody's sitting there. That was like, it was like Christmas because you're like, hey, what did I get? What cities? Because you knew if you was on the A team, that was Hogan's. You were getting the bigger venues, the bigger arenas, and they're going to be sold out. So that's going to be a good payday. You can figure 700 to 1,000 according to where you're on the card for that show. And you to go through the whole thing like that. Next day, Chicago, if you're on that, okay, that's going to be Rosemont Horizon was always full. great wrestling fans there.
Why do I have this on my face?
I don't know. You want me to put mine back on so you
No,
feel
that's
better?
all right. I didn't realize I had it on.
But yeah, so everybody's looking. If you're on the A team, Hogan's, you know you're getting a good payday. If you're on the B team, I think it was between Jake and Macho Man was running. We're heading the B team, but it's still arenas, but a little bit smaller, like 10 to 12,000. And the pay was come down a couple $100 from what you'd get off the A team. And then the C team, which I think at that time was Warrior, we were in the small, they were in the small venues, you know, hold about 5,000, 7,000, something like that. It's still full, and you still get a payday, but you could kind of judge your check by the cities you were in. And you would
You
switch
could
in
kind
and
of
out.
calculate ahead of time what you'd be looking at, really.
And it would switch in and out. You wouldn't always stay. If you're on the A team, a couple shows, you might be on the C, a couple shows, B, a few shows. But you'd go through it. But Sean and I would sit next to Barry Darso, Demolition, Smash.
Yep.
Smash. And we're a tag team partner of mine. I had a couple Seans as partners, right?
You did? You had a Waltman and a Hickenbottom.
Yeah. So one of the Seans is sitting next to me. That way nobody gets in trouble. And we're looking at Chicago. Oh, that's Julie and them. Let's see, New York. Oh, that's your friend Lorraine. And then San Diego this one, or Denver that one, and finally Barry's like, Jesus Christ, and I did something wrong. Like what? You talk to me. He says, we're all here figuring out how much money we're gonna get, and you guys are figuring out how many girls you're gonna bang. We didn't say nothing about banging, but we're just saying we'll see them.
Yeah, well.
But it was funny, Sean and I never really even thought about it till then. We're like, damn, it is kind of a lot. Wonder how many it is. So we started marking them on the sheet. Back then, when we were young and dumb and full of cum, or whatever, however that saying goes, we were stupid. We call it had to be blowjob or better. Anything less than that, you couldn't mark them in your book. I know that's horrible, but like I said, we were young.
It was the nature of the beast in the late 80s.
Yeah.
That was the lifestyle, that was the environment.
There was, Matt Daddy and I was talking about this for sure on the way. Like some of the guys that, did well on the road. And I told him, so you can tell it, I'm not. But I think of all the ones that did real well, I was the only one that was single. That's why I was saying no names.
Again, it was the environment at the time,
I think, hey, has Paul Roma been married? Yeah, back then I don't think Paul was married, but he might have been, so I don't want to say his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul was right up there with us. But I think he was just friendly, he would just walk him to his room, let him see the room, maybe check out his bag.
Cup of coffee, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a little workout and then say good.
Little
good
workout, there you go. That's a good way to put it.
Aerobics, exercising.
Well, it was better than the Tom Zink way, I guess, that we talked about on a previous
gosh,
episode.
You're going to go back on that.
You always got to make sure the latch is shut, I guess, right?
Was that last episode?
Yeah, I can't keep track. We're having so much fun. But I know it's a recent one.
There's a couple of my people out there are they're always texting and like, how do people, well, if they're seeing it, I guess they know how. I was going to say, how do people tune in like to past shows?
If they visit us on our YouTube channel, they can access everything in the archives.
They go all the way back? Okay.
Not just you and I, the episodes with Tony Atlas, episodes with the Sheik, everything, 2,000 plus free videos they can have fun with, and it's free to subscribe so they never miss a future episode.
You're going to be like WWE Network.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Marty. We got a long way to go to reach that network
You
number.
just did Vince's laugh.
Who did?
You.
Oh, did I? Well, that was a good joke. Nonetheless, Marty,
Yes, sir.
after SummerSlam, you got to remember, Country Boy.
I thought we did SummerSlam. First
Not
one.
88,
I know
no.
we missed WrestleMania because we had just got there. I think you're right. Cause,
You were in the company, but you weren't on the show.
Yeah, I think Survivor Series was our
Well, that
first.
was your first pay-per-view,
And,
yeah.
and man, that was, you can remember 100 different finishes, and everybody wants to get a few spots in when you can work spots pretty good. All the guys come to you like, hey, I want to do this with you. Like, God damn.
We'll get to Survivor Series, but
we're not that far yet.
As
Okay.
a Southern guy, Were these your first experiences in New York City?
When I left Columbus, Georgia, first territory, Kansas City, that was an eye opener. Even though it's kind of cowland country, because I was in all the capitals of the states. There was like Topeka, Kansas, Lincoln, Nebraska, Des Moines, Iowa. I don't know if those are the capitals, but the biggest cities, and of course Kansas City, and then St. Louis. So I mean, those were like I kind of got broke in slow. They didn't have to hit all the big cities at once. Hit the big cities in the Midwest, and that was like a big change from. Oh, I thought I lost my mask. From Columbus, Georgia. I mean, seeing big city. Well, but Atlanta's right up the street, and so we spent a lot of time in Atlanta, so it wasn't culture shock. But it was still, it was a good way to break in and get the Midwest big cities first. Then start hitting Chicago and L.A. and Denver and Salt Lake and Baltimore. I said Chicago. Those were our main cities for San Francisco for AWA days. So we moved up now, going coast to coast. Plus, we was on ESPN TV.
Yeah.
We had worldwide exposure, actually, but national exposure, and then of course WWE. You're hitting every damn big city. Now you're hitting them all, from Austin to Boston, and Maine to Spain, and all points in between.
You must have had, maybe not the night of SummerSlam '88, but over the years, some very interesting experiences in the Big Apple.
Oh my gosh! Some of them, as Al Snow said, I really can't discuss here.
What's the first one that pops to mind?
In New York City?
Yeah.
I was amazed. I was walking down to Manhattan, downtown, all the big cities, lights and everything. And New York City you never can get tired of it. Even Jimmy Nuzzo, my buddy that lives there, where he grew up in Brooklyn, one of my best buddies, he grew up there, and he says you never get tired of it.
No.
You never get tired of the city. I mean, it's always fascinating. And but what was so fascinating to me was here I am, a little Columbus, Georgia boy, and we walk in this one little pub. Who was with me? I guess Sean. And I guess I didn't see Sean, or maybe sometimes Sean had sort of a smirk on his face, like attitudinal maybe, or cocky or something. And sometimes people didn't really, attach to him real quick. I guess the best way to say it. But we walk in this. Now we're just walking down. It's pick a bar. Here's a bar, a sports bar. You go in there and watch a game, have a couple of beers. Oh, by the way, this is Pop's. How do you say it though?
Fabo Pop.
Fabo. And so just so y'all don't think we're over here drinking a bunch of beer.
It's the new brand. It's the green flavor. Yeah, the mint Fabo Pop.
Where's Goliath?
Glance?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to check the official screen, as even though the camera's on me, which director, if you could put it right back on Marty as we continue the conversation. There you go, Marty.
All right, so what had happened
You're talking,
was,
you're in some pub now. Sean's got a smirk. What do we got?
Yeah, we walk in a little sports bar, and it's pretty packed, which, maybe 100 people. And there's 100 of those, down the streets of New York City. But one person recognized us, I guess, but they all started chanting my name. Marty, Marty. Marty beating on the bar, and hell, I didn't know what to do. New York City, millions of people, and y'all chanting my name. My little Columbus, Georgia. I could walk down Main Street in Columbus, Georgia, and not even get a handshake. Nobody even wants to know me in Columbus, Georgia. Probably heard about the bowling alley.
Well, they'd have a hard time renting the shoes at that point, I guess, but that's a different story for a different time. Yeah. Did you have favorite hotspots in New York City as the years went on?
In New York City?
Yeah.
I liked them all. I liked all of them. They were good to us everywhere we went. Back then, they still had the limelight. That was the big attraction for all of us. It was they had the limelight down in Atlanta, so we were used to it. And the one in New York, just a bigger version. I mean, it was so many different rooms. I mean, upstairs, downstairs, you get lost in there for a day.
What was it?
It was a club.
Oh, it was a club. Okay.
Yeah, and Baltimore, believe it or not, I know Baltimore's kind of rough right now. Baltimore used to be a lot of fun. It was even dangerous back then. I can't remember the name of the damn club. Was it Sailors? No, that was Boston. But it had like 5 different types of clubs. There was one, I think it was called Sailors in Boston, that same way. You remember Boston?
Sailors? No, I don't remember
It
that.
had like about 5 or 6 different clubs in it, like kinds of clubs. They have country, they have rock, and rap. It have not so much rap back then, but I mean it had different styles of music. You know, the country, the old stuff, the new stuff. Like I said, it was some form of hip hop, but different little clubs, little areas, all in one building. You know, I mean, there was a beach club thing, but that was the Limelight there. They used to do. You know, I guess it was right after Studio 54 just closed. I never
really?
got,
Okay.
I never got to go there. I heard,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard stories. I would have loved it.
You would have loved it. You're right.
You got that Vince laugh now.
Do I? I didn't know
You know
that.
when Vince gets real happy. Ha 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 ha.
No one has ever said that to me before.
Well, now
I don't
they
know.
have.
Well, there you go. After SummerSlam, as we noted, you and the Conquistadors were all over that house show loop through the second half of 1988. Although at this point, you moved more from the A-team underneath working the Macho Man and DiBiase house show swing to working on the C-team shows. So as you already noted earlier in this interview, smaller towns and whatnot. How big of a financial change would that be going from the A to the C? Was it very noticeable?
For me, I mean, I can't speak for the other guys, but they, you know, you get 300 was generally to pay for a C-team show, 300 a night, and like B would be around 5 or 6, and then A would be 7 to 10.
It's a big difference.
So yeah, so that's how you would bounce back and forth and count up your money, and it would be close. I mean, sometimes you get surprised and get more than you expected, and sometimes you get pissed off. Like it was a full damn high school gym, or you know, a lot of universities would go to their gymnasiums, and you know that's a couple thousand, 3,000 people. And even back then, paying $20 a pop, that's a pretty good house. Not to mention concessions. But yeah, and sometimes you would not get paid what you thought.
And how would you dispute that? If you thought you were
the guys
owed more
did.
off of
But
a
you
house
just-
show payoff, or maybe a series of house shows,
You dispute it too much, your ass is gone.
there wasn't a talent relations department back then like there is now.
I don't think so. I mean,
Would you take it up with a certain individual, or?
now?
No, back in the late 80s, when
Now
you first
just
got
bitch
there.
to the boys, and the boys would bitch to the other boys, and they'd get around like a wave.
So you didn't have a way to dispute it?
No, unless you wanted to go tell Vince.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we had a meeting one time with Vince, with the boys, and it was Jim Brunzell, Killer B. Jim Brunzell, him and Brian Blair. Remember the Killer B? So he spoke up, man. He said, Vince asked, "Was there any questions?" He goes, "Got one." Nobody knew what he was going to say, but he never really said much. So we were like, "The hell's Jim going to say?" Jim's a good brother too, good guy. He goes, "You know, it's looking through the booking sheet. It looks like the workload has increased, but the payload has decreased." And we're all like, let's see how this goes. And Vince was like, "Well, you'll have to speak with me later on that." And then next week, they were gone. Brunzell and them were gone.
Tony has a similar story during a group meeting at a mid-'80s television taping that Roddy Piper actually wrote about in his book. He was talking, Vince said, "Does anyone have any questions?" And Tony raised his hand and said, "You know, how come the live attendance is going up, but the paydays are going down?" And he gave him some kind of an explanation that, you know, WWF had to invest more into travel and production and so on and so forth. And then,
He might have said something like that on this one too, but I think he said, "Just get with me later." 'Cause
yeah, just to
I'm
avoid
sure
it.
he was taken back by it, like, what am I going to say in front of everybody?
Yeah. What about a guy that you worked with on television a few times in enhancement matches? Doesn't get a lot of love as
Sorry,
far
Keith.
as a top superstar goes. Iron Mike Sharp. Any memories of the world's,
I got a
Canada's
couple of-
strongest and cleanest man?
Yeah, I got a couple with him.
All right. How clean was
I'm
he?
sorry I keep picking up my face here, but my dang tooth is falling out.
All right.
Paper tooth. You know that, right? It's a
You
paper
told me
tooth.
last time,
Oh,
yeah,
it
but
is?
I certainly wasn't going to mention it.
Just some Kleenex right here. I can
Oh, no,
fix it.
well, I thought maybe there is one in it. Look at that. Well,
I got a new tooth.
you got a new tooth. All right, well.
Don't look at this. It's
No,
horrible.
all right, well.
See that right there? It looks like a tooth. But what I got to do to cover up this.
Well,
I should have done that.
you're
Somebody gonna freeze frame that and put it all over the damn
You're
internet.
going Isaac Yankem route now.
Yeah.
Isaac Yankem DDS.
Oh my God! You remember we talked about who was hard to work with,
Yeah.
and it was Adam Bomb.
Yeah.
I forgot about Dr. Yankem.
Early Isaac Yankem was tough.
Oh my gosh! I had to work with. I always got the new guy to get their character over, just
Right.
like Goldust.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Dustin come in there. He was nervous to death. He was like, Marty. Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
He says, Marty, I don't know what exactly they're wanting out of this character. I got to try it out tonight with you. And it was In Your House. Remember those pay-per-views?
Yep, that was one that, an infamous one up in, I think it was it Winnipeg?
Yeah, I think it
October
was.
of '95.
Yeah. Yeah, because Winnipeg could be weird. Sometimes they would cheer loud, and sometimes they'd sit on their hands. You never knew. But generally, we have places we know, what it's going to be like. It's a hard crowd, or it's an easy crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But Winnipeg would mix it up on us. Be hard sometimes and easy sometimes. I don't know how that worked, because that's something I always teach my kids. Study crowds, because they're going to be different. Like in certain areas where amateur wrestling is big, in Iowa and stuff, they like a lot of groundwork. In other cities where, like say out west or down south where they know the Texas, where the luchador style, they like a lot of high flying. So you got to study the crowd to know what kind of match you want to give them. But Winnipeg, just crap luck there. But Yankem, back to him, he got better. I never got to work him as Kane. I think maybe in a battle royal, and Glenn and I, we were pretty good friends. Me and him and Al Snow always roomed together. Al tells some good stories about it. When we get a roll away, I usually got the roll away because I'm not going to let the big guy, big guy get on it a little bit. Yeah. Freaking roll away. The same thing with the Steiners. I get the damn roll away.
How did you always wind up with the roll away?
Well, because those guys were big. Arn Anderson caught me one time.
Al's not that much bigger than you, is
Who?
he? Al.
No, I mean, but he offered to.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we want to let the big man.
That would have. I couldn't see him on a rollaway.
Yeah, his feet would be hanging off the edge, maybe armed, drooped over. But okay, it's almost good.
Good. So you're doing a good job over there.
I got knocked out at one of my classes, seminars, trying to teach a guy how to take the post right, like hit it and spin, but not hit it too hard.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but I said, Larry, how'd that look? They said, it looked real good. I said, this is what it causes, though. don't do that. Don't put a hand in there if you have to. I usually try not to put the hand up, but because it looks so much better if you start spinning your body right before you get to the post, it's like centrifugal force. You're not, you'll spin around without hitting the post too hard. But if you got to go straight in, man, Bastion Booger, remember him?
Oh yeah.
Ah, dang, man. He threw me so hard I couldn't do anything but run in. I mean, ting! You could hear the pole like ding all through the building.
Wow.
I think it was up in White Plains. I can't forget that because that was the first time. Then he laid me against the post. He goes, don't move. And he comes running. He's a big old boy, man. Rest in peace, brother. I liked him, man. But he comes running, bam, in my head, ping. I got the backside of it. So I'm walking around seeing little blue birdies flying around the ring for about the next 5 minutes. Then he nut shots me, with his nuts. He gave me a slam, and how he did that finish where he squat and sat on you?
Yeah, he did a little dance, and then boom.
Yeah, and then he's sitting there with a big old sack in my face. I'm like, get off me. I couldn't even wait for the 2 count. Like, get off now. But Yankem, though, he was, when he first came in with that character, good God, strong, man. He is strong. Shit, he was throwing me around like a rag doll. I was like, damn, I don't like somebody manhandling me like that. Shit. But what am I going to do about it?
Right.
But yeah, he got good, though. I was to say in a battle royal or something, and he came over and got me, and it was real light. I mean, it was he might have just been nervous too because he was doing that character. He was wearing them teeth. Remember, he had the yellow teeth shit, and he had the wild, crazy man look, and he was trying to get the character down. Kane, he seemed to fit right into.
Yeah.
And it could have just been he was settled down with his nerves or whatever. Glenn, he's the mayor of Knoxville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations on that, brother. Keep doing your good job. I did an appearance there at a sports store, like whatever you would call it. It was like action figures, a lot of wrestling stuff, a lot of pops, like these things, a lot of those. of everybody. The Avengers, what were those turtles called? The Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Yeah.
Those guys and a bunch of stuff, a bunch of toy kind of store, really, for grown-ups. But it's just a little small place on the corner of a building. And Glenn got word to me, thank you, I heard you did a great job there. He found out about the least little things in the city.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was great because it's
Wow.
like a tiny little section of Knoxville.
That's impressive.
And I didn't get to talk to him. I was in and out. But I forgot who, CJ, my buddy CJ, that was my agent for a while. I guess he got word to him to tell Marty, thank you for, he made a really good showing with these people. They're bragging about him. And I just thought that was great that he keeps up with every little thing about his city.
A big city like that, and he's keeping up to date with what's going on in a little, toy store, a small business like that.
And he probably thinking, shit, Marty's coming to town. I'm going to have to get him out of jail, damn it.
Any memories?
There's no bowling alleys there.
I don't know. I've never been. What about Iron Mike Sharp? Back to the
oh, yeah. He used to come do he'd work out, man. He'd be there. He'd be one of the first guys at the house shows, which if it was an 8 o'clock start, we had to be there by 7. Or was an hour early. He'd be an hour and a half early because he'd be doing his push-ups and jumping rope. Man, he'd jump rope the whole damn time. He'd do push-ups the whole time. He'd alternate them and do free squats. So he was a machine. He's probably one of the most conditioned guys in the company. And man, raw bone strong. Like when he would hit you with that damn whack across the back, damn, you'd like catch your breath. But and he didn't, he was. Sorry about that. Well, bam, and give you another one. Sorry. I couldn't help it. He was funny in the ring. And you just pinch him in the side. Wait a minute. And he'd start selling it. Like, well, don't sell it. I was just fucking with you. But he, we accidentally ribbed him one time. He's such a nice guy. You really didn't even want to rib him, but we had to. I think Owen, speaking of Owen, Owen switched out his toilet paper. He got some from the bathroom, and somehow somebody wiped their ass on it, so it was a brown stain on the paper. And Owen went and put it. He could do his push-ups on him. He set him there so he wasn't touching the floor. And he brought his own toilet paper. He didn't use his toilet paper at the buildings, but he's doing his push-ups on them. And Owen comes to switch out. He's got the shit stain on one. Mike goes, wait a minute. Who's got my toilet paper? but he was all, people would mess with him like that, just cutting up a little bit about his neat freakness, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, he was, one of those ones like now he'd fit right in with sanitizing your hand every 5 minutes. But
he was ready for the coronavirus in the 80s.
Yeah, he was already waiting on it. And we left the building one night, and he'd be on like second or third match, fourth, maybe even mid-card. We all right?
I have no idea. I can't see. There was
a bunch of threes.
That was the worst signal I was ever given. Maybe we'll try it in English. Was that a certain time cue or? All right, I guess we'll just guess. I have no idea.
It was a bunch of threes. I could see that.
Bunch of threes.
I thought it was.
Was there any specific reason why we would get? This is unbelievable, Marty. The things we go through here in this studio, he's still not responding. I have no idea what he's doing.
Might have left.
He's snapping his fingers at me now. What is that supposed? Glantz made it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to
Oh, is that what it was?
Glantz is. Well, I thought you were giving me a time cue every 10 minutes.
30.
Oh, 30. All right.
I myself, so I don't want to do the camera.
All right, yeah. You could always leave it on the wide shot, though. Well, it's unbelievable.
Then if I go and, signal
Yeah.
you,
Okay. All right.
you're-
All right.
Glantz, I need to
whatever
see you,
your
bro.
name is. Oh wait! he wants to talk to the mayor of
I got his
Glantzville.
name right on that one.
You
didn't
got
I?
it right. Well, the mayor of Glantzville has made it back to the studio. I guess everything is right in the world.
Yeah, we're on the right track anyway.
Anyway. All right. Also in 1988. Wait a minute. We're talking about Iron Mike.
So yeah, he would be one of the first ones at the building. So he'd start getting his workout in. He'd go in about anywhere from first match to third or fourth, and then he'd stay there and work out some more afterwards. And he'd be leaving with the main event guys at the at the end of the night. And,
How long was his shower?
I don't know. I never watched,
Yeah.
but
But I mean, was it noticeable that he was in for so long?
I never really checked out the guy wasn't a pecker checker like some of the guys.
Well, I don't know if you had to actually, check the peck, but
only one was Virgil because you couldn't help it because when he was sitting there marking here, he'd just be swinging in the wind, and you had to get way on the other, those round showers. You got like 3 or 4 on them. The guys would have to share one post. You'd be in the showers. And Virgil, man, that thing would be swinging. You would have to get way back
Lanny
from the
Poffo
shower.
was probably jealous. Lanny wishes he had that.
I think somebody took a picture. They had Polaroids back then. And I thought, man, what are y'all doing taking pictures of guys in the shower? But I think it was Lanny and Virgil were both in there washing. The 2 elephants were.
Oh, my God, I love it. I love it. Well.
But so Mike, he was working out still, or he's finishing up with me and Sean, a tag team partner of mine. Now this one's okay to tell, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a big deal. We just, when we left, we were silly back then. We locked the gates to the back of the arena where we parked. The gate swung the gates. The chain was there with the lock, so we locked them in.
You were the one that did that to him?
Oh, you know about
that?
that?
Oh, I've heard the story. I had no idea you were responsible for it.
Me and Sean.
I never knew that. Until
I didn't know it got out that much.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's kind of well known. Yeah.
Mike
He just wanted a shower and he couldn't get out of the building.
Yeah.
Where was that?
That I don't know.
You don't remember?
Yeah, that's when we would just hand our ticket to the airline people. And
say, send us to the next one.
Yeah, where are we going next?
Yeah. Oh, that's funny, though.
Yeah, it was. That's about it with Mike, though, because, I mean, he was such a good guy, you didn't want to mess with him. Did he die?
Yeah, he did.
He died, too.
And he had such a long run for as an
worker,
undercard
man.
guy. Yeah, you're talking about he must have been with the company for about 10 years.
If not more.
I think early 93 was when he departed, right? In the infancy of Monday Night Raw.
Did you say departed?
Departed, yeah.
Okay.
You always pick up on the accent, but
Well, you can tear me up with the dang Southern shit.
hey, I'll tell you this though, that guy, he enhanced a lot of careers.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
He was. How could you not love him? Man, he was no problem. You're never going to get a problem about Mike.
Anytime you saw Mike Sharp working with a babyface, you knew usually that babyface was on the ascend, especially if it was a newcomer, that this was someone that was going to go further up the cards as the months and the years went on. So it was a good cards. They were a good Mike Sharp, you knew, was a good stepping stone. You were off in a good direction.
He would, like, if they came in and say, hey, make Matt Daddy look good, he's like, okay, no problem. That's it. He didn't have no complaints. I told you when Terry Taylor was booking.
Yeah.
I told you about that. I don't know if I told that on there. I thought, hey, you're doing a great job, man. You're booking. You go sit down right there and watch. And the guys that would come in and you had to tell the ones to lose, their head would go down and they get all sad. Or like I told you, was it Mysterio got pissed off, went out and told Kevin Nash. Kevin comes storming in. What the hell are you doing? We're trying to get him over. Rey Mysterio getting over. You're going to beat him. What the fuck, Terry? And Terry said, fine. Let him go. He's just like, shit. Because you had so many clicks there, and Kevin had his. He had a big say. That was the thing about WCW. I never did the click shit with any. I never even did that, except my little crew back home. We kind of had a little crew. We called ourselves the crew. But outside of that, I never did that. The whole Dusty Rhodes crew or Kevin Sullivan's crew, Ric Flair's crew, Kevin Nash's crew, Hulk's crew.
A lot of crews.
Yeah,
a lot of crews.
And if you was on the outside of that, you stood a better chance.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, or you got none because you ain't got nobody with you.
Right.
You got less power. But I just prefer not being in a clique because why kiss up to anybody? Shit. I mean, I know I'm silly, but I'm a man too.
There you go. Also in this fall of 1988, we saw a new character in WWF, but not a new superstar. It was the debut of, formerly known as One Man Gang, the African Dream Akeem, who became one of the world's largest Africans, I guess. He was introduced dancing in the jungles with Slick and Mean Gene. And
he told me one time.
What did he think of Akeem?
He said, Marty, when I first got in this business, I had no clue I'd be doing this shit. But he tried to do his little, whatever he could with it, wiggle. But I told you, that was our first WrestleMania.
Yeah.
WrestleMania
several months later in 1989.
Well, 89 actually.
That was WrestleMania V.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
And,
AC.
You know, we were the littlest guys in the company. Everybody's 6'6", 300 and something pounds. Some of them muscled up, some of them just big boned. And Sean's I'm 5'11". He's was. You know, I've sank down to 5'9".
Really?
Well, between the ankle and I guess
Yeah,
the back like an
yeah.
accordion because, you know, doing heavy squats all the time. I guess the spine's just.
Squishing you down.
Yeah, I went to the doctor the other day, get the ankle looked at, and they measured me, and it's 5'9". I said, no, that's wrong. And 5'9". No, don't take nothing from me. I'm already short. I'm already 5'11". Don't take nothing from me. You know, some guys. You know, never mind.
What?
No, we ain't.
All right.
I ain't just. That's for another show. But
It's almost like a sound effect we just had.
yeah, you heard that?
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm getting cussed out somewhere. But could be the Columbus Police Department.
No.
But we were, and Sean's right at 6 foot tall, maybe 6.5, but I think 6, right at 6. So anyway, we're the smallest guys in the company, and, you know, which is why we did all the high flying and tried to be in real good shape so we could buzz around and make ourselves look good with the big guys. But here we get Big Boss Man, you know, he's 6 foot, what, 5, 6'6", 350 pounds. When he first came in, he lost a lot of weight from that.
He did lose a lot of weight from his
he
debut,
was
yeah.
huge, man. And me and Sean, it's our first WrestleMania. It's like you've made it. Once you, that's like the Super Bowl or World Series. You know, you've made it once you hit a WrestleMania. So we've made it, and now we got this match. Shit, we're gonna go out and make our family and friends proud that we're on WrestleMania, but we got to do a match with the biggest guys in the company. They just put them together, so they were kind of knew how they were going to do their thing, and it actually became, it was like wrestling two singles. It wasn't like a team so much, but I mean, you know, them, and but we, you know, we both of us nervous as hell. Just, you know, you'll find it's hard to believe, but we got drunk as hell the night before, and because we were just nervous, like, what do we do? What do we, you know? We hadn't even. I think Boss Man was new in. Akeem, you know,
Boss Man started around the time you did.
Did he?
And Akeem started in '87, but he became
Yeah, he
Akeem
was
in the
before,
fall of '89,
he was
'88.
before.
Yeah.
But you know, when they threw that team together, it was, you know, that was it. That was the start, and we have to make it look good, and hopefully we look good doing it. You know, we got drunk and just sat and talked all night at Trump Tower there, Trump Plaza, whichever it was. Such a good guy, man. I mean, what you see on TV is not what you really get with him. He was the nicest in the world. He came through the casino like shit. It had to be around close to midnight, and he was checking, making sure everybody's doing everything right. You know, he was keeping an eye on this place. And we had done a photo ops with him earlier upstairs in one of the penthouse places. And, you know, he said he was a big fan. And I thought, yeah, he's just saying that. He's the owner, you know, he's putting on the WrestleMania this year, you know, because it was at Trump Plaza.
Trump Plaza, yeah.
Yeah. And because there's Trump Tower and Trump Plaza, and the guys split up where they stayed. But was in the casino, whichever one it was that night. He came down, like I said, to check the thing. He looks at me and he waves from, as he's walking up, wave down the hall. Like, I guess he does know who I am. And he walked right up. He goes, "How you doing, Marty?" And I thought, oh, he really does know. You know, I thought he was just bullshitting earlier. You know, I thought it was cool. I said, you know, and I had a girl with me at the time. You know, seeing at the time Ray lived. She's sitting there, long blonde-haired girl, pretty. He, you know, introduced himself, and when he said, "How are you doing?" and I was, you know, yeah, you know, win some, lose some. And he smiled, and he told the guy where I was playing craps, he told the guy at the table, give him a 500 marker.
Wow.
And I didn't know what that meant. I mean, what does that mean? I asked them after he walked off. He said, "Well, good luck, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have fun." And he walked off, and he kept eye. You know, he keeps eye on his business, man. He knows what he's doing. But he went. I went to the blackjack dude. I said, "What's a 500 marker?" He goes, "Well, basically, he just gave you $500."
Yeah.
And so I was like, I played one hand and took the rest. No, I didn't. I didn't do it. We played all night. And I think we about broke even. But what was impressive about him is I didn't see him for another 2 years. And 2 years later, L.A. WrestleMania
The WrestleMania VII, yep.
And he brought Marla May. He was with Marla
His
Maples
new
at
lady,
the time.
yeah, his new wife.
and she was doing like interviews in the back. Gosh, she was such an ass.
Oh, really?
Sorry, Marla. I'm just saying what my experience. You might be a nice person, but wasn't that day. And the Nasty Boys made sure to take care of it. I think they won the belts that night. In fact, I know they did, because I got another story about with Willie Nelson after that.
I think we need to save that for 1991, though. We'll give him a little teaser for once we get to that point.
All right, we'll just finish on this one with Trump. He was there with Marla. I heard a rumor. Now this is just rumor. He made a bar bet. He don't drink, but he hangs out, sports
Trump?
bars or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
He bet somebody. I heard it was a large amount of money that he would take Marla Maples and make her a household name. And damn if he didn't.
Sure did.
He did it. He's out there announcing WrestleMania, and but so she was just. Maybe she had a bad day that day. I don't know.
Maybe, and that does happen to people.
Yeah, it happened to me once.
What,
I started kicking my own ass.
Well,
you got to pull your heel up real hard to kick your own ass like that. But I see him walking out. Got a different girl. Looks close to the same, Colleen, that Pat Tanaka he actually had brought her, flew her out there as they were friends, and then asked me to watch her, so he could go gamble and do everything because she wasn't really into that. So I'm stuck hanging out with this pretty girl for 2 days, 3 days, and we were walking. I had my arm around her. We were walking backstage at the LA Arena. And here comes Trump, and he's smiling from part down. So, I know he knows me now, right? So we get up and say, "Hey, man, how you doing?" And he says, "You've always got a pretty woman under your arms." And I was like, "Thank you." And she was smiling so big, because he said that. But I got him, though, later. I got him later.
Trump?
Yeah.
How did you get him?
I went to the dressing room. He was sitting in there talking with one of the guys. And I, "Hey, bro, you got me in trouble." He goes, "What?" I said, "That was my wife." And he goes, "Oh, my God, I'm sorry."
That's good.
Yeah, and then I started laughing. I had to let him off the hook because he was so apologetic. "I didn't even think of that. I'm so sorry. But I started laughing. I was just kidding. He goes, "But I did learn something there." That's how much, I was impressed he knew the difference in the two girls 2 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, they looked real close to like sisters. And white, like sister, like black, well, white, never mind. They look like they could be twins. Is that better?
There you go.
And he knew the damn difference because he's like, he used to be a little ladies' man himself, He gets the best out there. But to finish that with Marla, boy, she was being such a bitch that day. The Nasty Boys won their belt, and they got champagne bottles and shook them up on the interview. It's live, right?
Right.
She's shaking them up, and they pop them right at her and just get it all over her hair. Oh man, she was so mad. She comes storming out. "Not doing any more of these damn wrestlers. I'm done." She looked like a wet rat, man. There's champagne dripping out of her hair. But yeah.
Well, I look forward to hearing the part about the Nasty Boys and Willie Nelson, as I'm sure you do, as we continue
Angel
this.
flying too close to the ground.
As we do with this fine gentleman each and every Thursday night on Wrestling Insider's Party with Marty. We'll be back next week. Who knows what twists and turns we'll take as we attempt to break down, examine, look at the history that was 1988 in the World Wrestling Federation.
Hey, by the
as
way,
Frank Sinatra would say, a very good year.
The Braves are in first place right now.
Well, by the
Well, I
time
don't know
this
by the
ends,
time
the
this
season
shows.
might be over.
Yeah.
All right, Marty, for our friends in the back, the prodigy Matt Degnan, the man that has made his triumphant return, the mayor of Glantzville himself, Glantz.
Where is Goliath?
Glantz is in there, so I hope someone's pressing the buttons. For Marty Jannetty, I'm Dan Marotti. Don't forget, Tony Atlas is back
Yes,
Tuesday
sir.
night at 9 p.m., then next Thursday with Marty. Till we speak again, folks, you and yours, stay healthy, be well.
Yeah.